And so we're going to be working through that content. And the first up, we have Vincent Lee, who's one of our external contributors. I'm going to go ahead and add Vincent here. Welcome, Vincent.
Hi.
So Vincent actually has contributed quite a few contributions this time around to our release. And actually, one of the things that I really appreciated about you, Vincent, was that when I said, "Wow, you've done a lot of work for this release," you also said, "I got a lot of help from Joe, and without his guidance, it would not have get done." I want you to know that we have internally at Isovalent, we have a kudos channel, and so I've taken that comment and I've added it to the kudos channel so that Joe can see it. So, thank you for the shout out. Yeah, I really appreciate it. So the VTEP support, you work at F5 and you've been working on adding VTEP support to Cilium. Would you like to talk to us about how that went and what the intent is there?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, let me introduce myself first. I work for F5 as an enterprise network engineer, and we support the F5 BIG-IP in the Kubernetes environment. And so previously we have customer running Kubernetes and Flannel CNI, and also some other customer with OpenShift and Chronicle. So I have been supporting them for a while. And then, by the way, I'm a big fan of Linux kernel networking, and I'm very excited about the eBPF. So I want to learn something about the eBPF, and then Cilium is obviously the eBPF creator, and so also it's related to my job. So I want to try Cilium. And then I found out that, the Cilium VXLAN does not support VNIT based implementation. So because I think BIG-IP is kind of limited to in that it only implemented the VNIT based VXLAN implementation. So I think this is something I can learn eBPF and at the same time contribute to Cilium and also help my employer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like this VTEP feature is, I have this diagram here. It's like we use BIG-IP as a north-south load balancer to the pod in the Kubernetes through VXLAN tunnel. So the benefit of this is BIG-IP has a direct network connectivity to pod, and the BIG-IP can monitor the health of the pod, so this is quite attractive feature for our customer. So
it makes a ton of sense. I mean, I know that for load balancing in general, that is one of the problems for load balancing always is to determine what endpoints should be a part of a backend and what endpoints should not. And so having that sort of a view into it would be great.
Yeah. So, okay. Maybe you did not see my screen. I want to share my screen here.
Yeah. Let me add that in. There we go.
So you see my screen, right?
We do, yeah. We're looking at your demo.
Okay. Yeah. So this is the diagram I talked about. So the BIG-IP can network with the pod directly through the tunnel, and so if you run Cilium, you can run Cilium in routing mode or tunnel mode within the cluster. But to BIG-IP, it must go through the VXLAN tunnel. And so we have also active and BIG-IP, active and standby BIG-IP pair. And so So I think the benefit to use BIG-IP as a north-south load balancer is BIG-IP has like a rich layer 7 features, yeah. So and that's one of the reasons our customer they are already BIG-IP customer. Then they also want to run a Kubernetes environment. So my recommendation for them is you use Cilium as Cilium because we have done some contribution and if you're running any kind of problem, we could help you and
Yeah.
so yeah and so yeah so and I'm going to do a quick demo.
Sure.
So
Let's take a look. Yeah, Vincent is in the open source Cilium Slack. So if you would like to reach out and thank him for this work or ask him a question, he's in the open source Slack. Of course, this is asynchronous communications because we never know where anybody is on the planet.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Yeah, so like now I have a 2 node with Cilium deployed. So 2 Cilium agent running, and then to enable this feature, we just in the config map. So this is we label VTEP true, and then here we specify the VTEP endpoint. In this case, is it's BIG-IP endpoint IP, and so you can configure like maximum. You can configure 8. So I configured 2 here, and the VTEP CIDR is for the tunnel subnet on the VTEP endpoint on the BIG-IP in this case, and the VTEP MAC is the tunnel interface MAC address on the BIG-IP. For example, here is my BIG-IP configuration. Here, see I have like a tunnel subnet on the BIG-IP 10.1.14. And so I have a VLAN self IP. So like the tunnel self IP is the overlay network through the underlay network VLAN. So this is my endpoint IP. So this is a tunnel self IP. And so yeah, the VLAN self IP. And then the MAC address is so we have tunnel interface here. I call it a final VXLAN, but it doesn't matter. The name doesn't matter. So I can show you the IP address. So the MAC address is we pick the MAC address of this MAC, the final VXLAN interface, and this MAC. So that's the MAC. Yeah. So once we have this feature enabled, we will have like a VTEP created by the Cilium agent. So we can see here, this is the VTEP map. So this prefix subnet is to the BIG-IP tunnel subnet. So once we have this map set up, we can use this value to rewrite the packet MAC and use this IP as a VXLAN encapsulation. So yeah, so here I already have a BIG-IP virtual server. So I have like in this diagram, we have like a CIS. It's called Container Ingress Services. It will manage the Kubernetes resources like config map, ingress. It will populate the config map onto the BIG-IP to configure the virtual server with the pod as a pool member. So like here, I have a virtual server already populated by the container ingress services. And here is a virtual server demo. And so we have a pool member as the pod IP. So remember here we have like 10.0.0.18. So that's the pod IP. You can see here pod. So here is my pod F5 Hello World. The pod IP is the pool member IP on the BIG-IP, right? So if I send a request to the virtual IP on the BIG-IP, the BIG-IP should load the balance state to the pod. So 168, that's the virtual IP. And this see here the F5 Hello World response, and we have a BIG-IP cookie header here. So yeah, so that's a quick demo, and yeah, that's yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, it's really like, it looks like you're kind of solving some similar use cases to like Amazon's ALB, or the application layer load balancer, right? So that and with the VTEP integration, you're basically putting yourself into that network so that you can actually route back to the pods. One of the questions that came up during this while you were demonstrating was from Balaz, who was talking about like probably the more common way that I've seen this used, where you put an F5 out front, and then you're basically mapping to node ports. That's certainly I think probably the way that we've all seen F5s used in this particular model. But it's really great to see this extension in Cilium that allows you to kind of think about that model in a different way. So thank you so much for the contribution and for all of your work.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So cool. Let's get back to our notes here. And Vincent, you're welcome to stick around, or if you want, you can go ahead and click the Leave Studio button and join us in the backstage. It's entirely up to you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great day and a great weekend.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure working on your